Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. God bless you. If you're in the house, if you're brand new, welcome. My name is Denzel Rodriguez, your personal finance geek of the 21st century. It's 2021. I have my friend Brittany Green with us today. Hello, how are you? Happy New Year. How's everything going?
Hey,
Things are
I'm
well?
good. Happy New Year.
Awesome, awesome. It's good to hear from you. I'm glad that you are healthy, that you're doing well, everything in your business is going good, and I can't wait to dive into today's lesson. If you're tuning in live, you're gonna want to hang out to the end because we're gonna do some blessings, some giving towards the end of this workshop. Today's focus is on personal credit, fixing your personal credit, repairing, establishing, managing overall your personal credit to get tools like personal line of credit, maybe a credit card, home equity line of credit, maybe even an all-in-one loan. These are our debt tools that we use for Velocity Banking. Or maybe you're just someone that is young, starting out, maybe you don't have a lot of debt, or you're older, don't have a lot of debt, you're debt-free, but you want to, get your personal credit right so that you can position yourself for maybe business credit. Maybe you're starting a business, so no matter what you're doing in life, having good credit is one of those things you just need to have in the 21st century, especially in this environment. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Brittany. And throughout the session, I'll look at some of the questions that pop up. So everyone that's here, feel free to comment. Feel free to let us know that you're here. If you have a pressing question, we will answer it. We're going to leave some time for some Q&A. And that's it. Go ahead, Brittany. Take it away for us.
Yes, well, hi guys. I am back again. I love coming in to seeing you guys. For those of you who are new and may not know who I am, my name is Brittany Green, and I am the CEO and founder of Crown Financials. I specialize in educating my students on how to increase their credit score anywhere from 50 to 300 points without having to hire credit repair companies. So, my sole focus of today will be bringing you updated education because, as you guys know, in the credit industry, it is forever changing, forever evolving. So, I want to keep you guys up to date on what's going on, what you guys can be doing to increase your file, and as well as how we can work together, my program pivots, and what I have for you. So, I'm super excited to jump off today because I think the last time we spoke was last year, and we were just talking about where we were going with credit, what was going on in the industry, what to do with your file, how to balance out your file. So I got some amazing updates heading out today, so I'm excited.
Awesome, awesome. So I know you have a little structure of how you want to, take us. So wherever you like to start, I'm gonna be taking notes. So if you're in the
Okay.
house, guys, be sure to be taking notes. I'll be writing my notes here on the nice whiteboard, and kind of showing you guys my notes along the way. And I know
Oh,
you
I see
wanted
the
to.
chat.
Yeah. Oh, can you? Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Nice. So
Oh,
I'll let you share your screen wherever you like to, present to us today.
okay, perfect. Well, hi guys. I see you guys popping off in the chat. I like that. I like how I can see that feature. So, one thing we're going to talk about today is where I was going with services to where I am now, and what that means for you guys. So, when you guys first saw me on Denzel's channel, at that time I was taking clients. I was pretty much doing everything for the client, but what I realized is that provided a disservice to the client. So, yes, it will, Jamal. It will still help. You hired a credit repair company, and I'll tell you why. This is, actually a reason. You're like, this is like the perfect pivot. Your question. So, like I said, when I first started, I was doing everything for the client, but it was only helping one section of their file, and that was helping to clear negative items. But those negative items would often return because we did not fix the main issue, which was discipline. It was how they spent their credit on a monthly basis, their behaviors. So I decided to cultivate a program last year called A to C Credit. It started off with just a book, and then I turned that book into a master class that I teach from today. So now, instead of doing everything for the client, I actually get a chance to work with the client. So it's more so of a do it with coaching type of program now, so that we don't just fix and correct one area of their file. And it's not just me saying, oh, just do this, do that, right? And then they're not understanding why they're doing it. Instead, now this is helping with an overall balance. And the reason why is because the credit industry has taken a change into looking at the overall balance of your file. So at a point in time, it was, necessary to just hire a credit repair company, get all the negative items off, you pay everything off, and they just look at your score, right? Now they're looking at this thing called trended data, meaning what do you do on a monthly basis? So now I coach clients on what to do on a monthly basis, meaning you have to look at the balance of your file rather than just the score. I had a client who had a 775 and they actually still got denied for credit. So I make this joke with Denzel's clients all the time. I'm like, if you have over 700, do not don't reach out because you're good to go. But in fact, that's not true all the time, right? So he reached out and we joked on the phone. Guy, I'm a jokester. So when we had our initial call, I was like, what you want? And he was like, I was like, because you're at a 775. So what's going on? And what we realized is that he was stagnant at that score, which was good. He wanted to keep it that way and not make any mistakes. But what was happening was that they had nothing to look at because he didn't have any updated behaviors, right? So that actually worked against him. So I started to, so now if you have over 700, yes, you can reach out. It was just a joke anyway, but you can definitely, I still look at your file. I'll still do free reviews. I want to see where you are to make sure, again, that you have an overall balance to your score. And what we realized is that he needed more updated activity. So you can have the lines of credit, right? You can have the amazing score, but if you haven't used your accounts in about 6 to 8 months, they're going to look at your previous behaviors. And if anything, there were any dings, there were any mess ups, right? Guess what? They're going to look at that and say, well, we haven't seen you make any updated activity. How do we know we can trust you? Or how do we know that you're not going to get this credit and just have it sitting there, right? So you can get penalized for overusing your credit and you can get penalized for underusing your credit. So that's what we learned. So I say that to say one of the major things that we're going to focus on today, and you guys, I have my notes here, so if you see me looking down, that's what we have, just to make sure that I don't miss any points. So what I will say is when we first establish where you are by looking at your file. We do a free review, see where you are, and determine what your file type is. So I'm going to share my screen in a moment so that you can see how I come up with where the file types are. And Denzel, you can pop in at any time if you need me to slow down or if there's a question that you really want me to target as we get going. But just so that you guys can understand what I mean by focusing on the balance of your file rather than solely focusing on having a high number score. Yes, that is amazing. We love to have high numbered scores, right? But it means nothing if you still can't get approved for things based on the balance of what you have. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that it can make a little more sense here. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. I was going to say it wasn't going to allow me. All right, so you guys might see me. All right, perfect. So let's go in. So, and Denzel, let me know if they can't see it because I can't see the chat or anything.
No, you're good right now.
Okay, perfect. So this is how I break down a crowned file type. It's what I call it, a crown file type. File type A. This is someone that I consider to be the builder. This is someone that may be starting from scratch. They may not have any positive credit accounts. and they have no negative items. So this is someone who has typically gotten a credit sweep, or they went through bankruptcy and they literally have, nothing on their file. And I'll show you what it looks like. We'll get into some, visibility of what it looks like. Okay. So the key differentiator of the different file types is going to be negative items. Okay. Because you can be either file type A, B, or C and have credit or have no positive credit. So I hope that makes sense. Meaning, hey, I could have negative items, but I have no positive accounts that are helping me to build credit. Or I could have negative items and I have a little bit of credit, I just may not be using it the way I need to. Okay, so that can exist in any file type, no credit or have credit, right? Positive credit, that is. But the key differentiator between file type A, B, and C is going to be the negative items. So file type A has no negative items, okay? File type B, they may have 1 to 3 negative items, okay? And file type C, they have 4 or more negative items. And again, either some credit, positive credit cards, lines of credit, or like loans that they're using to build payment history, that they're using to build utilization, or they have nothing at all when it comes to those areas, okay? Now, just because you're a file type A, B, or C, that does not determine the length of time that it's going to take to help you build your file, right? Yes, credit age is a huge thing, a huge piece of the puzzle when you're building organically. And this is something that I coach my clients on to understand. Hey, you have to have the right amount of balance to your file in order to age your accounts correctly. So if you just opened up an account last month, guess what? You have to allow that some time to age. They need to see at least 6 to 8 months to a year worth of payment history to determine, are you the type of person that pays on time, or are you the person that has late payments, or are you paying the minimum balance, or are you paying a good chunk of are you paying it off every single month? They need that trended data, what you do consistently on an every single month basis to determine what type of person you are. So yes, when you're starting to add things to your file, you're going to see some things moving around. You're going to see some things shifting, right? However, it is going to take some time for them to build that type of trust. So initially you're going to see that boom, 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 but then it's going to start panning out. So I'm going to show you some examples. So file type A, this is one type of file type A. As you can see, 0 derogatory marks. This is the most key differentiator spot right here. You can see for this person's file in general, they're starting strictly from scratch. So when I tell someone, and this is where I want you guys to start. So following this, I want you guys to log into Credit Karma. Don't necessarily be so hyped off what the score says. Again, right now we're creating balance. And this is probably one of the easiest platforms to look at your score and see where you are, because we go by colors. When we see green, we know we want to keep that up. When we see yellow, we know we could use some work there. When we see gray or red, we know those are going to be the areas that we want to work on the most. So we see green here. We want to keep that just that way, right? Hard inquiries. Obviously, we know once we add inquiries to your file, that's going to change, right? But as long as you stay 5 and below, that should be fine, right? Total accounts, we got to add some accounts here. That's in red. But as you can see here, for credit card usage, no data. That's in gray. We know that's a place we're going to want to work on. Payment history, that's in gray. We know that's where we're going to work on. Credit age, there's no data to report. So this is someone that would be considered a one type of type A. They're starting from scratch, okay? Here's another type of type A, right? They have a few accounts, maybe student loans, maybe a car loan, maybe some personal loans, right? As you can see with their payment history, they're in green. They've been paying things on time. But again, remember that key differentiator, 0 derogatory marks. And then, of course, we need to help them build credit. So this is what I would consider a file type A, the builder. This is the person where, hey, we just need to add some credit on, add a strategy, and help them build a solid foundation. Okay. So let's do a little bit of fact checking, because I like to do my fact checks, right? So when with the file type A, this is typically the type of results that you're going to start seeing when you begin to introduce activity to the file, whether it's Vantage or it's FICO. One of the major things with my program that I love to help people understand is we want to make sure that these numbers, we get them cohesive, right? Because it's so easy for the Vantage score to look different than your FICO score, right? If you don't have a strategy. So that's the important piece to it that, that I walk through with my clients, is how to understand, how to make them cohesive. So when you're a file type A and you begin introducing activity to the file for the first time, this is the type of activity that you'll see going on your file. 131 point increase, 148 point increase. So this is why it's important to know what type of file you have, to know what type of activity may go down when you're introducing new activity and getting adjusted to your strategy. Okay, so that's a file type A. A file type B can look like this. Again, the major differentiator is going to be the derogatory marks. How many derogatory marks that you have. I call this person the strategy, because more so what they need is a strategy on how to properly use their credit card, how to get their payment history back up, how to allow their credit accounts to age properly, right? And then to get these negative marks cleared. Again, like I said, the key differentiator is going to be the derogatory marks. 1 to 3 is what's going to make you a file type B, right? This section right here can either be red, yellow, green, or gray. Either way it goes, we're going to put a strategy there to help you keep that in a positive area. So as you guys have heard me say time and time again on the other videos, is the main thing that you want to focus on is having your utilization 30% and below consistently. And if you're working with me, one thing that I'm going to always tell you is 10% or below. Because why? You want to make sure that you're an overachiever. I like overachievers because I'm an overachiever myself. So, and that's how you establish good and a good foundation. So for this person, you're a strategy to me. We need to help you get this in a healthy range. But don't be heated by this, because this right here, derogatory marks, is the key differentiator. We're going to balance the rest of this out. This is easy. That can easily turn green. This can easily turn green. Payment history and credit usage, easy to turn green. This credit age is going to happen organically as we allow those accounts to age more and more and more. Okay. So a little bit of a fact check with this one as well, because when you're on the strategy side of things, and as you're getting adjusted to your strategy, you may not see those huge boost of points to your score as we're getting things adjusted. Because I got to let you know, in some instances, when you remove certain negative items, it can hurt your score a little bit. It can possibly, bring it down a little bit. Or it may not have that crazy big boost that you think it's going to have. Sometimes it's just a couple of point increase when you remove a negative item, right? Because again, it's all more so about the balance of your file. What's showing there? What negative items are there? How are you paying on your accounts? What is your credit usage on a consistent basis? That's what they're going to be looking at. Okay, so small dips are normal as you're adjusting your strategy, or as you're getting adjusted to how you're paying your bills, or when negative items are falling off, or when you add new accounts, right? Those types of fluctuations are normal, right? So that's a file type B. File type C can look like this.
On the
Oh yeah, go ahead.
File type B.
Mm-hmm.
And just to bring some clarity for especially my type of people that are using their credits,
Mm-hmm.
one of the main things that you do stress about, one of the main things is keeping your utilization below 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, especially when you're working with my clients, would you say that applies for those that are trying to obtain their debt tool, but once you've acquired a line of credit, once you guys have acquired your main debt tool, well, then now we don't really need our credit to be applying for anything. Would you agree
Right.
with that statement?
Yes.
So sometimes maybe we can violate that 30% rule
Mhm.
because we're trying to, obviously accelerate our debt, pay things off faster. And I
Mhm.
saw Jamal drop the comment. He was like, "How do we get the utilization down if we need the credit?" And I would say if you are someone that does not have a debt tool, you do not have your numbers in line, you don't have the cash flow yet. Obviously, doing a strategy like credit repair combined with some debt snowball, where you're just simply paying down certain debts. Typically, it's going to be your credit cards um, in most cases because the installment debt is not as hard as the credit utilization that you're constantly fluctuating with. So
Mhm.
to repeat,
It's very true.
yeah. So to repeat, if you're someone that is uh, trying to obtain your debt tool, right? You're trying to fix your credit. Maybe in some cases we're not trying to actually do any velocity right away because we're trying to get to a certain debt tool. We're trying to apply for something. That's great. But if you already got your home equity line of credit in the second position, you got 50 grand, and you want to use 66% of that, which is 33K, to make
Mhm.
our first chunk to knock down two cars, the credit cards, the student loans. I mean, I'm usually, hey, let's go, let's move.
Yes.
But if you don't have the HELOC, yeah, we're gonna hold off on maybe doing balance transfers with credit cards, things like that, if we're trying to upgrade to something better at a lower rate, HELOC at a lower rate, or a line of credit at a very low rate, especially the environment that we're in. That's when we can want to stay with some of the things that Brittany is saying right now.
Mhm.
But once you've
Yes.
acquired what you need, we say, all right, thanks Brittany for getting me to this point. I'm gonna now do velocity banking, and then we come back to Brittany if we need to
Mhm.
upgrade, right? If you're someone now, here's the next group. You're someone that does have a debt tool. Let's say you have a personal line of credit, but it's at a 12% rate, and you're trying to upgrade to a home equity line of credit with an intro rate of 2.5% or 2.99%, something extremely low to accelerate your debt. Would you agree, Brittany, that we would definitely want to bring that existing line of credit to, below the 30% mark or even at zero, and actually take a break from
Mhm.
chunking if we're
Yes.
trying to upgrade, right? If we're trying to jump to the next. So maybe that window is about maybe a 1 to 3 month, maybe up to a couple months, would you say?
Yes.
Would be,
Indeed.
you know, uh,
Indeed.
especially if you've been doing velocity banking for quite some time. You went from a 600, now you're at a 750, and you just want to make sure that you are at a true, say, 750 or 775. You're
Mhm.
not like jumping up and down, because that's what happens when we're doing velocity banking is our credit constantly goes up and down. I know this happens to me. I was at like 780 and then I jumped all the way down to 750, 740. So I know that as I get closer to applying for something that I want, I'm going to dial it back on my credit card usage. Or would another cool thing to be to keep that 30% down is to just have maybe two or three credit cards. You use less than 10% on one, less than 10% on another, less than 10%
Mhm.
on another. Would that be another
Yeah, because
strategy
it doesn't that probably wouldn't even equal out to 30%
overall?
depending on your overall usage,
Got it.
because they look at overall usage, but they also look at it from an individual level. And there's a chart on Experian.com that literally shows you where your debt has been. Have you been using more utilization? Have you been using less? And a lot of lenders will look at that as well. So it's big to, you're right. When you're pre-debt tool, you want to make sure that you're looking at your file type to determine what needs to happen. So that's the purpose of looking at the file type, right? Just to know where you are and what you have to do prior to getting the debt tool. Once you get the debt tool, you use it how you have to use it, right? Your score is going to fluctuate. So that is something that I always tell your clients when they come over to me, is that, hey, your score is going to fluctuate. So when it's time to, jump back into you want to get approved for something, a good 3 to 6 months is what I would recommend of floating in that low 10% or below area overall. And, on an individual level, I'm going to recommend that before you go off and you go, to get approved for something, because they're looking at that trended data, they want to see what you're doing on a consistent basis.
Got it. Awesome. Appreciate that. You can go back to the file type C. I'll give you
That's a good question. That's a really good thing, because I think that we're scared. We're sometimes scared to use more than what's, like, say, for example, I'm about to move, right? So I had to use a little bit more of my credit cards in order to make sure I had everything that I needed, wanted. But I have a strategy of how I'm going to pay that down. So my score definitely took an impact to that. So I think that, it's okay to use more. Just know that when you're ready to apply for something, you want to scale it back.
Got it.
Okay.
Awesome.
So let's look at a file type C. Again, the key differentiator is going to be those derogatory marks. So right here, as you can see, 4 or more, I'm going to consider you someone that needs full repair, because it may take a little bit more time to go through those negative items, figure out what you may have to pay, what you don't have to pay, what they can validate, what they cannot validate, in order to see what you're responsible for and what actions need to take place in order to clear this section right here, right? Again, they may have existing credit that they are able to use to build, or they may not. In this case, this person does not. So we need to help establish some type of utilization. Now, people will say, I hear people say this all the time. Well, I have a loan. I've been paying it off every single month on time. Why isn't my score moving? Because it's just that. It's a loan. That is considered the type of account that only helps your payment history, your credit age, and the variety of types of accounts that you have, whether open, closed, whether they are revolving credit, or if they're installment. So installments only affect payment history, credit age, and the variety of different accounts that you have, right? Credit cards, lines of credit, trade lines, those help your utilization and help lenders to see what your monthly activity is. So again, key differentiator, I got to keep going back to that just to make sure that that's clear, is going to be the number of negative items that you have, whether or not you're a file type A, B, or C. So I say that to be super important, because one thing that clients, I've seen this. I had a client who had 5 negative accounts removed, and it only shot him up 9 points. Yes, that cleared out 5 of the 7 negative items that were there. So that's woohoo. But it wasn't all about those negative items. In these instances right here, you can see, hey, these were major lines that were removed. Okay, we had some accounts that were closed, and we also had a payment history that was changed. They were able to shoot up 100 points. Woohoo, right? That's love. But the higher your score is, sometimes when those negative accounts get removed, it's just helping out, again, that balance of the score. Okay, so and that's what I wanted to share in regards to a file type. And the reason why, and I think I'll share this next slide as well, is FICO versus Vantage, right? A lot of people will say, okay, well, Credit Karma's score isn't always up to par. What score should I be focused on? So again, when you're looking at Credit Karma or most free sites, they're going to be giving you your Vantage. So number 1, the focus area is going to be your payment history. Always pay on time. Always pay on time and communicate when you can't, right? So a little bit about my backstory. In 2018, when I lost my job, I did not have the money to pay. I was still within, still building up my business, but I didn't have the money to pay my bills, right? So I started to reach out to my creditors, and they had different programs in place to help me out. Rather than just ignoring it, or rather just letting it go late or missed payment, at least communicate. In some instances, they'll have programs. In some instances, they won't, right? In that instance, they had programs for me. So I was able to reduce payment. I was also able, with one account, to push payments back for 2 months. So that helped negative those missed or late payments to stay away from my file because those have a significant impact. 60 to 120 points is typically what you'll see when you have reduced, when you have a late or missed payment, right? So I try to avoid those altogether. And I try to build a good reputation with the company. So by building that, good reputation, I'm paying more times out of the month instead of just one time a month. I may pay 2 to 3 times in a month, right? Towards a card or a company so that they see not only was I paying what I was supposed to pay, I was paying multiple times. So that if I ever need you in my corner to help me out, you'll say, oh, well, you've been responsible for the year or the 2 years or however long that you've been with me. So establishing that good relationship of payment history, paying on time every time, and communicating when you can't, just in case you have to, either now make up those points by amping up how many times a month you pay. Say, for example, they don't have any programs to help you out. So you have to now pay more, right? Now you had to take that late payment. So now you're like, okay, well, now instead of just one payment a month, I'll amp it up to 4 payments, even if they're smaller payments, right? 4 $25 payments looks better than just one $100 payment, right? This shows on my credit report that I've introduced new activity of new times of, new amount of times of how I'm paying on my accounts to now make up for that missed payment, right? Because when you have a missed payment, they now want to see, all right, what do you do for the next 6 months? What do you do for the next year, right? That follows you. So if that's the case, once you get back on your feet or once you're able to begin paying how you were paying before, amp up how you're paying. So payment history, okay? The second thing is going to be utilization. We touched on this a little bit already. The best way to have it is 30% or below. The best thing that you can do is target that reporting period. That reporting period when the credit cards are going to report to the bureaus. You want to have it manipulated to what you want them to see. So if I know I'm going to have to use more of my credit again, I'm going to wait until after it posts before I make another transaction on that credit card because I want it to show, hey, it was paid off, or hey, it was under 10%, or hey, it was under 30%. I want it to show and reflect for the next odd amount of months that my behaviors have been on top tier behavior. Okay.
Let's stress that. Let's
Oh, yeah, stress it.
stress on that a little bit. Just give us
Yeah.
an example of this finesse or manipulation of how we, report our stuff to the credit
Yeah.
bureaus on the specific dates. Can you give us an example of, say, let's say I got a credit card at 10,000 is the
Mm-hmm.
credit limit, and I normally will, run about maybe 2,000 to 3,000, sometimes more on that credit card. What do you mean by, showing them what I want them to see?
Yeah. So if I have a $10,000 limit, right? Obviously my 30% is going to be 3,000 if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? I hope I'm right.
Yeah. Confirmed by the
Okay.
finance geek.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to make sure I was right. um so I'm going to make sure that when it's time for them to report what my current balance is, that it's going to be well under a $3,000 balance. I'm not going to make sure, especially if I'm going to want to get approved for something, right? It's not going to have an $8,000 balance because then that's going to show me at 80% utilization if that's the only card that I have, right? Versus, when it comes down to that reporting period, say the reporting period is between the 20th through the 24th. I know between that period of the 20th to the 24th, I'm not going to make any transactions on that card. I'm going to allow it to show whatever balance, as long as it's well under 3,000, say it's like 2,500 on there. Right? I'm going to allow that to stay there. And once it reports, after I know the 24th is going to be reported, okay, on the 25th, I'll make a new transaction because now they've already seen that the balance on that card was 2,500. They don't care what you're doing throughout the month. Yes, the payments that you're making, if you're paying on it, they care about that, right? Because they're tracking that. And it shows on your and I'll see if I can find that slide on this webinar.
How do you find out when you're reporting date is. Is that per credit card or
per credit card. You have to call them.
you have to call
Mm-hmm.
them and ask? Okay, so that's a simple, little task. Call and ask to find your
Mm-hmm.
reporting date for each credit card.
Mm-hmm.
For those that are trying to, for those that typically run a large, like you're like myself. I know I run probably, almost 8, 9, 10K a month on credit because I basically
Mm-hmm.
live my whole life through business and personal. Just all my stuff is through credit, and then I just pay it off each and every month. So if I'm in my position, I'm looking to obtain a mortgage. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be wise on my end to make sure that I look up those reporting dates so I can continue to use my credit cards, get my points, but then still look nice and clean when I go to apply for that mortgage.
Right, right. And this is what I'll show you. I'm gonna share my screen really quickly because I found this on my PowerPoint where I can show you guys this. So when I say they don't care what you do throughout the month, this is what I mean by that. They don't care about how much you ran up throughout the month, as long as when it reports, it's under a certain amount, right? Here you can see I've made, or this person has made multiple payments in a month. They're tracking that on your report now. You can see 2 payments made on time. So if you make 2 or 3 or 4 payments within a month, they're tracking that. As you can see right here, 2 payments made on time.
You need to share your screen.
Oh, I'm not sharing it.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hit share. Oh, wow.
I was like,
Hold on. I thought I clicked it. Oh, man. Okay, so you guys can see me now. Okay.
perfect. Now you're good.
Okay. Boom. Uh-oh.
All right, so rewind.
Okay. So as you can see here, 2 payments made on time. So like I was saying, they don't care. They're not showing, oh, you had this balance throughout the month, right? They're showing, okay, when it's time to report, did your balance increase or did your balance decrease? In this person's case, their balance decreased $516. That looks good. On top of that, they made multiple payments in a month. They're tracking that on your file now. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're creating the right strategy, the right balance for your file, because then it just looks good.
Got it. So in my case, or for others watching, you want to not only find out the reporting date, but also when we're going to make the payment for that credit card, right? So um, let's do an example here. So I know I have an Amex card, and I think the credit limit is, I think it's 15K at this point. So it's an Amex, and it's business. And I know with just this one card alone, because I get so many points, rewards, cashback, all that good stuff, I'll run anywhere from 8K to almost 10K almost every month. Now, if the due date, because I saw a cool question come in from Natural, K Natural says, is the
I just
reporting
saw that.
is the reporting date different from the statement
Yes.
date? So the answer
Yes.
is yes on that, right? Okay, cool. So let's say my due date is the 8th, that's what it is, of every month on that credit card. I know the closing date is usually like, in most cases, just generally speaking, it's like 3, sometimes 4 or 5 days after, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so usually the closing date for everyone to be aware of is always after the due date. Closing date after due date. So that's important to know, because a lot of people get confused on closing date versus due date and statement, when the statement comes out and all that stuff. So,
And every credit card company is different.
correct.
So I seen someone said it's called the statement due date. Yes, that is true, but some companies call it different. I don't know why they all have different lingo. It honestly should be
Right.
the same.
It's
But one thing that's universal is reporting date. That's something that you can ask them, the reporting date, because they know they have to send out things to report. So that is something
right.
that's universal.
So would you say that, generally speaking, the reporting date is most likely going to be after the due date of any credit card?
Yeah, it's typically 4 to 6 days after the due date. Typically,
Which is
but it
found
sometimes with some cards As soon as the due date, they're reporting that same day.
As soon as the due date, they're reporting it that same day. Okay, so in some case,
Term, this term.
in some cases, that's actually pretty convenient because I can always just
Right.
make sure I pay the freaking thing on time and then it gets reported. But in some cases, I guess when we're going from month to month, we would it would be wise to actually not only pay it on the due date, but also pay maybe somewhere in the middle of the month.
Mhm.
Show that
Sometimes in the
multiple.
middle of the month. Yes, sometimes in the middle, and the thing is, and this is why I say that because remember the 15 and 3 day trick, it now I won't say it varies, but it everyone's card is different. So it's kind of like building a strategy per the card that you have. So in some cases where it would be, it's still good to pay, make some payments in the middle of the month just to make sure that you can start tracking more payments. But in some instances, it's good to pay on the due date. And some people will actually pay a little bit after during that little reporting period to kind of catch it. Some people will, put a little extra to pay it down so that the balance that reports is even lower.
Got
That
it.
makes sense?
Yeah, no, it really does. And so if you're someone like myself, you're running high balances, but you pay it off each and every month because you have the money to do it. It's expenses anyways. In my case, if my thing is due on the 8th, instead of me waiting to pay off the full, you know, balance on the 8th, let's say, because I know in my case, usually most of my stuff is coming out between like the 1st and the 15th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if I'm already past, right, it's now, today's the 19th. So it would be wise for me to pay a bill somewhere between now and, you know, 3 days before the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yes.
so that the following reporting shows, oh, he made multiple payments, and
Yes.
and before I breach 30%, so as I rack it up to 3K, let me pay it,
Yes.
1,500, and then rack it up again, pay it. Just so
Mm-hmm.
I'm always staying below 30%,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm making sure I'm in tune with that reporting they showing utilization under 30%, even below that, so that
Mm-hmm.
when I go to apply for a mortgage in my case, which is going to be an all-in-one loan, I can go ahead and just look really, really clean to them overall.
Yes.
I think that's
Yes.
good to just highlight.
And it builds that relationship because I tell people
Yeah,
you never know when life's going to happen. I did not know life was going to happen to me like that when it did, right? But the good thing is that I was able to bounce back because I had built relationships with my creditors. So they saw, hey, you are always paying on time. You're always paying more than what you're supposed to pay. And you're always paying multiple times in a month. We're more than happy to work with you, right? And those companies I know I want to foster better relationships with,
yeah,
right? Versus the companies that say, oh, no, we can't do anything for you, but you want me to pay you every month, right? So it's kind of a realization. Hey, I love you guys. You're helping me. You're working with me versus, okay, I think I want to take my business elsewhere type of
mhm,
things. That helps cultivate that relationship even further.
right. And just to stress even more on what you just went over about payment history, like, because we both
Mhm.
have similar stories. We both lost our jobs in
Mhm.
2018. When was it for you? Around
In November 6th,
November
best
6th.
day of my life.
Yeah, mine was I don't remember the exact date. It was the week before the last week of June. Like
Mhm.
it was the last Monday of June
Mhm.
2018. So I think I got fired on a Monday. That's what it was. I
Oh,
don't
yep, same.
I don't remember
Oh,
the
it's
date.
the perfect
Yeah.
day.
But you will I'm telling you, you remember things. So that's what happened, and as soon as I got fired, I was not only did I have a trip planned, I got all these bills, I'm helping
Mhm.
mom, helping the family, I'm in debt already, trying to do velocity banking, trying to get myself out of debt. Here I go, lose my income. One of the things that I did was I had, like you said, I built rapport, I built relationships prior to getting fired from
Mhm.
my creditors, whether it was the credit cards or the banks themselves. Because you could have a credit card with Bank of America. It's
Mhm.
nice to also know a loan officer at Bank of America,
Right.
the teller, to
Right.
just them know you by name is really helpful.
Mhm.
Grab their business card. send them an email. Hey, thanks for the service. Just having
Yes.
that steady communication.
Report.
I'm telling you, it goes a long way.
Long way.
Especially if you guys are with credit unions, which I'm a huge advocate for. Banking with smaller banks because they're more likely to know who you are by name, and they'll reach out to you and they'll ask you questions, things like that. So anyways, long story short, lost my job. I immediately went to my credit union and I increased my credit limit because before it
Mhm.
reports that I don't have any income, it takes a period of time. Would you say like maybe
Yeah.
like 60 days
Yeah. Mhm.
before they actually see that? So
Yep.
the fact that I walked in, I had a $5,000 credit line. I
Mhm.
bumped it up to 10K. I applied the week after I came back from my vacation, it was July 1st to the 5th. So it was about 2 weeks after I got fired. I went straight to the bank. I got the idea, obviously, a week or two. I was like, oh, what if I just get an increase? They won't know that I don't have a job yet, and they'll go off my previous credit score.
Mhm.
And that 5 grand will buy me time to find a job, pay these bills, right,
Mhm.
whatever it is. And this is the reality. Many Americans face this. They're like, do I get a loan if I lose my job? Do I use my credit card? What do I use in the
Mhm.
event, you know, stuff hits the fan and we don't know what to do and your back's against the wall, you're on your last leg and you're in the weeds. So that
Right.
was one of the things that I did is I had my debt tool, increased the line of credit, was able to pay for expenses. It
Mhm.
showed that I was still employed technically as I was
Mhm.
applying for it. And then I was able to, cover the things I need to cover and build the
Mhm.
business. Here we are today, completely
Right.
debt free.
Just
So
letting people know you can come back from
you can come back.
anything.
You can make a comeback. So we're both examples of, having our comeback story, and
In our own fields at that, because I was a credit expert and I'm like, how am I going to teach people how to build their credit? And
how,
mine
how,
had shot down.
how am I going to teach people about finances if I'm in a financial pickle? What that don't make no sense. And the
Right. And
fact that
God is
we're
like,
young.
I promise you it made perfect sense. I'm
Yeah,
positioning you correctly, for your purpose.
exactly.
So, mm-hmm.
We could start preaching in just a
Want
minute,
to
but
do
we ain't gonna go there just yet. All right, so let's come back to it. So payment history number one, number two, utilization.
Yes.
Thing.
And number three is going to be your age and behavior, something that we emphasize. Some things take time. I think one thing that a lot of credit repair folks make it seem as if, oh, in 90 days, you'll be where you need to be. And right, they make this unrealistic type of things, not realizing that number one, you're playing with people's livelihood, right? Number two, you're not giving all of the goods. So I'm going to let you know just now, right? It's going to take some time for accounts to age, right? It doesn't happen overnight, especially with how they are doing it now. Like back in the old days when you could just pay down a credit card and whatever your score said, that was fine, right? But now they're looking at what you do on a monthly basis to determine your credit worthiness. So if you had, your score is still in the 700s, but maybe you had a late payment, guess what? They're still looking at that late payment and any behaviors that you've done after that late payment, right? So, depending on how old the late payment is, right? So don't get too caught up on that portion. But just stating that, hey, a good 6 to 8 months of go hard focus is going to position you a lot better. Like even if you have like a 690 to a 720, that would position you a lot better than someone that has a 775 and does not use their credit at all. Because again, they're looking at the score. Of course, sometimes they're looking at the score, but they're more so looking at the balance and the age and the behaviors on your file that you're doing. So allow your accounts to age. Don't, if you have accounts, it's not always wise to say, "Oh, I'm just going to add on another account. That's going to help. I'm just going to add on another account. That's going to give me exactly what I need." That's not always the case, because when you add on new accounts, your average age, it changes, it shifts, right? So, by having the new accounts that you have on, you want to make sure that you're allowing new behaviors or allowing lenders to see how you've been acting with that specific account over time versus okay, I'm just going to add it on and then apply for something new. They want to see what you're doing on a overall standpoint. So by doing those three things, that's what's going to help you to have a well balanced file. So that was my tidbit for that. No. Oh, go ahead.
No, no, I was just saying that's good. I appreciate that.
Okay, perfect. Now, this was something that we talked about. This is going to kind of be a shift in a sense because we're talking about negative items a little bit now. So, a little bit about what I used to do was I used to write letters for my clients, and that was that, right? I wrote the letters, I mailed it off to them, everything was done. But what I realized is that it took that personalization out of it. It took their voice out of it. And I became like the traditional credit repair companies that send off letters for their clients. And it took a little bit longer for the results to cultivate and to really come to light because again it took out their voice, it took out their personalization. So now what I do is I coach my clients on the type of letters, number one, that are going to be the most aggressive, that are not leaving out the collection agencies because I feel like that's where the power is. I have helped clients remove over 50K of debt, and not because they just didn't want to pay it, right? Because even in the letter that I help my clients create for their to help them remove the negative items for their file, it's not. It says in there, this is not a refusal to pay, but if I am going to pay, this is, I need you to make sure that you provided me these type of documentations that prove that you're supposed to be collecting this debt from me, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to pay your company and another company and another company for the same exact debt. Somebody has to let me know who I'm paying. They have to provide the proof that I'm supposed to be paying them. And that's how it's going to, that's how it's going to work, right? They have to be able to provide specific things. And if they are able to provide that, then perfect. At that time, you want to go ahead and settle, make payment. I think this is something that we talked about last time is you do not want to just rack up a bunch of debt and think, oh, okay, I'm going to get away with it. No, we understand life happens. We understand things go on and you may not be able to meet the financial obligations that you were able to meet before. But in that essence, when it's time to start clearing your file, okay, sending off those personalization letters, sending off, letting the credit agencies hear your voice or letting the collection agencies hear your voice in those letters. And then, creating that responsibility, that accountability, that paper trail so that, because at the end of the day, you can't do anything about what someone else is doing. And I will say this, a lot of collection agencies are scamming you. So this is why these laws have been put in place, because that debt that you had has already been paid in most cases by the collection agencies when they buy it off from the original creditor, right? But when it ends up in their home or now with this collection agency, they have to follow proper guidelines. So harassing you, threatening to garnish your wages without, actually court orders, or threatening to show up at your door and take you to jail, different things like that, or selling it to multiple agencies at a time. And you say, for example, you've already paid it, but they still sold it off, right? You have, per your rights, you're able to say, hey, I'm asking for you to validate this debt before I even make a payment, because I don't want you scamming me, because again, a lot of them are scamming folks. So it's up to you to make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's before you open your pocketbook and not end up like one of my clients who end up paying the same collection account almost 3 times because they were, scamming him and passing things around. So I've created the A to Z Credit Masterclass to educate, of course, organize, help you put balance to your file, but also take accountability for what debts you owe, how you're going to pay those off, understanding who you have to pay, if you have to pay anything at all. So we're going to kind of dig a little bit deeper into that. Denzel, I didn't know what points you wanted me to talk about when it came to those, but I did have something that I wanted to update everybody on as far as the collection agencies and what extra steps they're taking to now harass you guys even more and what your rights are from there. But I didn't know if you wanted to tag in real quick before I went into that.
No, I'm taking notes here. This is solid. You can just
Perfect.
keep going with it in this same area because I think your average American will experience a collection issue, whether it's a medical bill that you completely forgot about. Because I know that happened to me. I had medical bills I didn't know that I needed to pay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's weird when it comes in the mail. It does, sometimes don't even look like a bill. You don't even know what's going on,
Right.
the way that
Right.
stuff looks like. So I know I just disregarded for a while, and then all of a sudden I had phone calls coming, hey, you owe us this. And I didn't know who I was talking to at that point. I know I wasn't talking to the
Mm-hmm.
hospital at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank God I didn't get scammed. I paid it.
Right.
I set up a payment plan. I actually paid less than what the bill actually
Mm-hmm.
was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was that. But I mean, this is really good to know. Okay, it's 2021. What's going on from both
Mm-hmm.
sides? What do I need to do as the person that's in debt to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that I pay the right um, institution, and what are the institutions doing to
Mm-hmm.
get at us? Get our money,
Right.
take
Right.
advantage of people that have lack of knowledge.
Yes. And I seen a good comment. It was saying from Sebastian, you have to watch out for those who do it though, who charge a significant amount of money. I'm thinking that you're talking about the I'm thinking maybe credit repair agencies. I'm not sure. You can kind of update me on that. But I did want to speak to that because that is important, because you do have a lot of credit repair agencies who give you these false narratives, who give you these false guarantees, and they do charge a significant amount of money, and you don't even have the education. You still remain the uneducated average American at that point. So what I have, started to do is teach people how to read those collection letters, know when there's a violation, knowing when you're being harassed, how to handle that. And they now have this new trick where collection agencies are now able to text you and write you on social media. So this was a law that was passed at the end of the year. And I just kind of want to let people know, hey, if you start getting these text messages or you start getting these things on social media, immediately opt out. Immediately opt out. The best way to keep the standard with this is paper mail. I don't want you texting me. I don't want you harassing me on social media. I think that can get fuzzy, because what if someone has the same name? How are you going to verify that it's actually them? Right? It's very sticky. I'm sure that we'll see a lot of violations start to come out because it's something that just rolled out. So you can start to see this throughout 2021. So I'm just kind of saying this for you guys to be out on the alert that if you get a text or if you get something on social media, they do have the option to opt out, right? Just like how you get those text subscriptions and they're like, text stop to cancel or anything. As soon as you get those, don't even start to verify who you are, this, that, or the third. Just immediately say stop, opt out, whatever it is, because they have to, by law, they have to give that in there, in the clause when they're, reaching out to you on text or via social media. You definitely want to make sure that you're on the lookout for that to protect yourself. The best way to make sure that you're, in alignment and that you're not crossing anything or you're not messing yourself up before they've had the proper chance to validate is by getting letters off, validation letters. Literally, as simple as it is, it's just a validation of saying, hey, this isn't a refusal to pay. I'm just asking you to provide these specific documents. And if you can't provide these specific documents, then you cannot legally pursue me for that debt. And I don't know that I'm trusting you to have my information because, again, I literally, this was actually about a month ago. I had someone who paid a medical bill years ago. And I mean, I'll say maybe 4 years ago. And they're just now putting this account back on her credit report now, years later, but it has already been paid, but they sold it off to someone else. So this is another thing of why I like paper trail, because you can delete messages, right? You can delete things or you can lose things on social media. You can forget who it came from, right? But if you have collection letters that are coming in the mail, keep those. Keep those. And if you're going to work with a credit repair company, ask them, hey, do you dispute only with the collection agencies, or are you going to help me dispute with the collection agencies as well? The credit bureaus, or is it, are you doing both the credit bureaus and the collection agencies? Because if so, I know that you have my best interest all the way around, right? All the way around, versus if you're only sending letters off to the credit bureaus, you're leaving a lot of power, money, and things like that on the table, because when you are able to resolve something with the collection agency and have the account closed or settled, and you have it in writing, you have that paper trail. If they try to sell it off to someone else, you have that paper trail in your file folder. You haven't gotten, I don't get rid of any documents. Where's my little thing at? Right here. I'll show you guys. I'm at my desk, so I got everything handy. I keep any important documents in my little file folder. I'm going to be transitioning this into something else because I just like to, any good documents, any bad documents, I keep it all right here. Okay. I don't get rid of anything because I like to, paper trail. So if anything comes up, or if you guys try to decide to scam me and think I forgot about something, I'm pulling out my documents in my file folder, right? I'm taking it back to the old school, right? Nice paper trail to keep yourself in handy. So I wanted to definitely make sure that you guys knew about that change of, hey, opt out. If they're texting you, if they're sending you messages on social media, make sure that you're keeping yourself safe.
Got it. So just to be clear again with the social media, what you're saying is the collection agency can post on my Instagram, on my
Well, not necessarily. I don't know if they can post on your Instagram. That might be a violation, but I know they can message you. So
like
if
a
they
DM.
post, oh yeah, they can DM you.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay.
But if they post on your photos, oh, you better screenshot that thing. That's a violation of your right.
Yeah, because I understand, we have a lot of people, especially in this community, people that are starting businesses, people that are trying to change their life for the better. So I know that could be a huge like mental health distraction downer if you get some collection agency posting on your uh, page and you have no idea what to do, or you get a DM, and that can sometimes crush people emotionally, and it makes you not want to be on the social media profiles, makes you want to go ghost when in a
Right.
time where you can't afford to be ghost because you need to be out there creating content for your business,
Right.
getting
Right.
clients, changing your life, creating that financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So stressing on this again for those that may experience this, if you're someone that has collections, you're trying to wipe out those medical bills or whatever debts that fell into collections. Here's the process. You need to
Mm-hmm.
verify it from the institution to make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're paying the right person, and that if you do start getting text messages, DMs from
Mm-hmm.
freaking institutions, I mean, it's like, so you're saying that's like a law that
Mm-hmm. They
was
pass that at the end of the year.
that allows
Yeah.
them to do that to
Mm-hmm.
people.
And
That's a
I did
very
want to make a
stressful
comment
law.
because I see Prince. He said maintaining paper trails is not the best way. So when I say maintain paper trails, you're going to get collection information in the mail, right? Paper trail doesn't mean just physical papers. If your best way is on keeping it in a digital file, you have to do what works for you. But what I mean by maintaining that paper trail is by not throwing those documents out and not having any way to be able to access them again. If they're on a digital file, if you scan them in a digital file, perfect, great, right? But if you cannot locate those documents because you shredded them and you threw them away, but you don't even have them anywhere in a backup, that's a problem. Because when I'm working with clients and I say, don't throw away your collection letters, meaning don't just blindly get rid of them because you're going to need them. There are violations in those. There are, different verbiages in there that let you know whether this has been assigned, whether it has not been assigned, whether it's been sold to a company or whether it's been assigned to a company. It lets you know if you've been sued or they're thinking about suing you, that type of thing, right? If you have a screenshot of something and you've tucked it away in like a Google Doc, because I love Google Doc because I think that if a computer crashes, you can access it anywhere else, right? There's pros and cons of anything. The main thing that I want you guys to really understand is keeping some type of documentation of the letters that are coming into you, the messages that are coming into you, because if anything happens, you want to be able to pull that from your file, whether digital or physical, to be able to use to help you later on.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm old school, just like
Me
you
too.
are. I don't
Yeah.
care. I'm gonna I'm gonna track my stuff. As a business owner, they say keep your tax records for like at least 7 years,
Mhm.
both both physical and digital. So
Yep.
it doesn't hurt to have a cold storage, such as a
Right.
hard drive of your digital records in like a cold storage, or
Mm-hmm.
the cloud is
Mm-hmm.
also pretty helpful in case your system, your laptop, phone crashes, gets hacked. You still have the
Right.
cloud that you can access from any device.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that second layer of protection of cold storage is the hard drive that
Mm-hmm.
you store somewhere, right? One, a couple gigabytes of data, whatever it is, or nowadays like 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes. Um,
Yes.
and
Which
then
I need most.
yeah, and then the actual physical
Yes.
original piece itself. I don't see a problem with that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you're covering, you get everything. Because if
Yeah.
there was a fire in your home and you didn't have a digital record,
Mm-hmm.
well, now you're out of luck, right? And
Right.
there's a flood in your home, so you get the whole thing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much what Brittany's getting at. Keep a
Because
record.
I have folks that will throw everything away. They'll get it in the mail. Like, oh, this is a debt collector, and they throw it away. And I'm like, wait, don't do it, don't do it, because you can use those to help you out, especially if they're violating you, right? Because you have companies that will buy. And I talk about that in Module 5 of the masterclass. I show you what's considered a validated letter when it's time to pay, or what's considered an invalidated letter when it's time to fight a little more. Because you can see, like I had a company. Say, for example, it's called the statute of limitations, which is the legal time frame that they can pursue you for a debt, right? Now, say, for example, if I would have just kind of kept throwing things out from this company, didn't keep any type of record at all, like most people do when they get those, because they don't want to see it. Again, they go ghost. They don't want to see it. It's bad energy. I feel it. Trust me. I know I'm big on energy. So I'm like, okay, well, this company from years ago tried to sue me for a debt that was outside of the statute of limitations, but they also didn't have the proper paperwork to pursue me for it. So at the end of the day, I had to protect my rights. I had no problem paying it, right? But the minute that they started to cross different lines, it was like, okay, now at the end of the day, I have to protect myself as well. So that's why I say, make sure that for energy purposes, I get it. I get it. But make sure that you're protecting yourself. You know your rights. You're getting educated, because they're taking advantage, especially at a time like this.
Awesome. Cool. What's next? Because I think this was solid. I think
Yeah, that's what
we're
I
we're
had. That's
really
all
good
I had.
source on that. Okay, so then let's go into some. I'm going to look at some Q&A, and
Mm-hmm.
then we will share what you have going on, your current offer that you provide my existing clients with, and some of the new
Mm-hmm.
things that you're working on for 2021. I'm actually going to scroll up because I seen some interesting things
Yeah.
from Richard and Sebastian earlier.
Ooh, that
Um,
felt good. Sorry, I popped my elbow. I mean, my shoulder.
so I got a good question here. It says, have you ever heard of someone with a high credit score, 750, 800, adding someone with a low score to their credit as an authorized user to boost the person's added credit score? I know people will. I've seen other credit specialists recommend this to their clients if they have a mom,
Yes.
dad, someone that has a longer credit history than them.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. What I haven't heard too much of is people charging. So actually going to a stranger whom you don't know to hire them. You're going to pay them to get on their,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
It's considered a,
credit.
so those are like secondary trade lines. So
Right.
they have like different which in some cases those are good. I'm not gonna lie to you. In some instances, those are good, but you have to know who you're dealing with,
Yeah,
right? So that's something that I'm educating folks on this year as well, is knowing when to add a trade line like that and when not to add a trade line like
well,
that.
that's really
And the
good.
best to go about it. Because say, for example, if you already have a negative balance with that particular company, or you have a derogatory mark with that specific company, it's not going to help you. So that's going to be a waste of your money to pay someone else to get on their account, right? Or if you have so much negative items on your file at this time, that may not be the right time for you to add on, a secondary, like an authorized user. I mean, of course, that may be good to go on there, but it may not You might want to have a certain expectation when it comes to that. Don't expect it to be the end all be all and for it to just magically get rid of all of your other problems, because at the end of the day, you still have accounts that have to get settled and removed, right? And also you have to factor in age of the account. Is that account that you're adding on, is that going to clash with your current age, or is it going to complement your current age? So say, for example, if you have 15 years of credit age history right now, adding on a 10-year aged account is going to do more of a damage than help, because it now has to adapt this new average age when the current average age is already 15 years. That makes sense. So you do have people that are paying for those. It's just about knowing when the right time is, because you have some instances where that actually works in your benefit. Like I have a client who he paid for a trade line and it helped him get approved for a $5,000 limit at Navy Fed. So that, that worked in his favor, but he made sure that he prioritized it correctly on his file before he actually did that.
Got it. And would you happen to know, like, I guess, how do you price that for the person that has the great credit and
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they're another YouTuber that's promoting this, or
Mm-hmm.
someone actually has this as a side business, because I've seen the chat room going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen $500, $600 for a
Mm-hmm.
service like that.
People pay up to $3,000 for it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
So I'm
People
wondering,
pay
like,
money for that. So it's an existing business.
yeah,
I'm actually studying it right now. So it's more so what you want to charge for it, right? But I do know that if I was you, I would wait to see the difference, because there are going to be some changes coming about this year. Once Biden gets in office, just being honest, there are going to be some changes to the industry. Not sure what those are yet, so I didn't even speak to those. So I would wait to see how the bureaus are going to be cracking down on those before I would invest too much time, energy, and money into those.
because I'm
But
sure there's malpractice in that for sure.
yeah,
Like,
because you have people that are scamming it or that are feeling scammed by it, but it's because they aren't educated on that. So that's
right,
why I say I'm going to be educating folks on that, because like I said, some people don't know that, hey, if I pay this person for their account, so say for example, if I had a Capital One charge off and I'm paying someone else and I didn't know that they had a Capital One card, it's not going to reflect positively on my file because I have a charge off with Capital One already. But I didn't know that going into that. So that person can automatically feel scammed when in reality, they just didn't know. And that it's not, I won't say it's not up to the person to tell them, because it is, but that person may not know, as well. So it's one of those things where the education is going to be important before you just jump into the trade lines.
got
So
it.
that's why when I help people with trade lines, I'm more so helping them with primary or first round, which is first person, not as an authorized user, but obtaining your own first before you go into that. But I will have resources that'll help people calculate, okay, will this be the right one for my file? Do I already have a charge off with this one, or is this the right time for me to add a trade line to my file?
Cool, cool. So the next question I think was coming back to just how many days before the due date is it best to pay your credit card bill? And you kind of went over that 15-day, 3
Mhm.
strategy. I think that would apply here, or
3 days. Yeah. 3 days. And then if you want to pay it down a little bit more also after your due date to try to target that
reporting.
reporting period, you can do that as well.
So 3 days before, 15 days
Mm-hmm.
after the due date
Mm-hmm.
is a cool strategy to implement when you're trying to build up that credit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, let's see
I
what.
like how you can post the questions. That is so dope.
Let's see. I guess Lawrence came in a little late. He's sorry if he does. I just recently joined. Is it true that one can opt out with the investigative agencies that report to the credit bureaus to prevent sharing of discrepancies?
Yes.
That's a quick
Yes.
there.
You would want to opt out with LexisNexis. You can go to LexisNexis, Google LexisNexis, and opt out of that. But just make sure that when it's time for you to obtain new credit, you opt back in,
Got it. Yeah,
because
I see
it
the
will
next.
not go in your file.
Yep. The follow up was that someone else asked
Oh, I
Nathan.
love opting out of LexisNexis. That's a strategy that that I teach my students as well. Opt out of Lexis. So first, I send off, clear off the identifiers, right? Any personal identifiers. Then I'm gonna be if I don't have any collection documents, I'm gonna generate a general dispute, right? Then just to kind of get some collection agencies to send me letters. Then I'm gonna be asking for validation. If they don't give me validation, I'm gonna opt out of LexisNexis and dispute with the bureaus. It's kind of that process.
Okay, awesome. And that's pretty much it. And then we have a client of mine, Prince, gave $5. And speaking on giving, appreciate
Oh,
that.
that's so dope. And that's so dope. I love this app.
Yeah, so what I'd like to now shift, because Prince just set it up for us, I want to go ahead and give to someone in the community. So break down for us what you offer. I'll take some notes here, how you help
Yeah.
people, and where we can go. I already put your email in the chat box, so guys can scroll up, but I'll put it in again. What the process is if somebody wants to work with you, if they're a type A,
Yeah.
type B, type C. Break it down for us.
Yeah. So I have a program called A to Z Credit Masterclass. And this is my give back to the community of education, because I think that education is going to be the key to it all. So, to answer the age old question, do I do everything for you? I do not. I do not. I no longer offer that service. I am now in the business of education and setting you up to make the best behaviors and different things that you do for yourself. So, the different behaviors that how you pay your credit card, how you look at your file, understanding how to break down your file, understanding how to balance out your specific file is what I educate. So I have a 5-module masterclass where I take you from A to Z, understanding the basics, understanding how to read your report, how to build a strategy specific for your file, how to tackle getting off those negative items on your file. And I have, all of that in the 5-module content, right? On top of having lifetime access to that and any changes that I make um in the course platform, I do monthly trainings. So for those who come in under general admission, you have lifetime access to the content and you have lifetime access to the monthly educational trainings that I do. So when I find out something new and cool, I like to bring it to our monthly session. So we come in, like last month, I took a bunch of collection letters. I highlighted a bunch of different places in there, and I taught you how to read those when it comes to when they come in the mail, how to read those, how to interpret if it's a validated letter, what action steps you need to take after that, and how to, make sure that you're always protecting yourself, how to make sure that you're always understanding your rights. So that's what we did in last month's training session. And we do different things like that on top of Q&A every single month. So for that entry fee, the investment price is $199. And that is just to get in, have your monthly training access, and then again, your access to the lifetime content, right? Outside of that, for folks who want to work with me one-on-one, where, hey, you're like, hey, I want to learn how to understand credit for myself, but I'm going to need a little bit of extra help with that. I want to, understand what I need for my file. You can block off 6 months to work with me, where you get the lifetime training, you get the lifetime content, but you actually can work with me for 6 months. We get your letters together. I help you understand what you're going to need for the balance of your file, what action steps to take in a simple way, because I know people are like, well, I don't have time. How am I going to ever have time for this? I promise you have time. If you're still paying your bills every single month, I promise you got time. And then, of course, it's saving you time from having to hire credit repair companies every single month, or every single couple of months, and not seeing the results when you can actually start to see those results. So to block off those 6 months with me, that one is $997. Okay, so 6 months of time is going to be for that. So I did see someone that say, do you teach others how to repair credit as a business? I do. I do. So that one is going to be a completely separate program. That one is going to be my mastermind. And that one is going to be $14.97. And that blocks off a year of education as well as the monthly coaching as you're, working with your clients. That blocks off a year of that. And of course, I have payment plans as well for those who are like, hey, I would love to participate in that, but I need to figure out, how I'm going to,
$199.
Mhm.
You need that one-on-one support, a little more hand-holding. You do the 6-month commitment, that's $997. And then starting a credit repair business for those that
Mhm.
are like, all right, not only do I want to do this for myself, but I want to be like you, Brittany. I want to start things up. I've got a lot of people that are reaching out to me lately, like, Denzel, I want to start a YouTube channel. I want to, teach people about
Mhm.
personal finance to get things going. And I've been doing that lately for my lifetime clients that are interested in
Mhm.
that. So that's great that you've added that. This is a recent thing that you've added, correct?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, that is something that actually launched this year. You guys are actually the first folks to hear about it.
Hmm.
No one else has heard about it as of yet. So you guys are the first people to hear about it. And then so I offer that to where people can really just, because like I said, this is a huge thing that we need in the college classroom. So I've started teaching this in the college classroom, but I'm only one person. I can't teach it to everyone. So I have to teach other gurus like myself to be able to teach their family members, to be able to, host workshops. And I'm not going to resonate with everyone. So you may have a specific voice that only, will reach your crowd, but you still need to figure out where to get the foundational information and the education. And I think it's crucial to really understand credit. And I think you got so many people out there, oh, I'm a credit expert, but they don't even understand the difference between a FICO and Vantage. And I was that way at once. So I've created this platform to be able to help people understand, okay, hey, you're much more, you can be much more than just the basics. And here's how you can help people get results in a simple and strategic way. So everything is simple and strategic.
Good. Awesome. Appreciate that. So now let's dive into the blessings here.
Mhm.
Like always, for those that don't understand what what it's like to be a king, be a queen. We have this authority, this kingdom authority that we live by. This is part of our not only our spiritual side, our faith side, how we build a business. This is just how we operate our vision and our mission, our day to day. And people like Brittany, myself, and other partners that I have that I bring on this channel, we're coming from a kingdom perspective, a king and queen perspective, to not only deliver the information that you need to succeed in the 21st century, but to also be a blessing to others. Well, the only way to show that is to practice, right? And actually execute so that you witness, got to have a witness, so that it inspires you, it shows you what life could be like on the other side of freedom, abundance, masterful living. So what I'd like to do, Brittany, regarding the A to Z masterclass, I'd like to bless one person with that,
Okay.
and maybe you can sort this out for yourself, whatever
Mhm.
raffle. I'm gonna put your in terms of communicating with you. You prefer people
Mhm.
to email you, yes?
Kingdom blessing, how we did it last time. Kingdom
Oh,
blessing.
so that means that they have to. I'm gonna put in the. I'm gonna write it down so there's no confusion here. We've got roughly 63 plus people in the house. And then as soon as this video is done, I'm going to take it down. It's only going to be available inside the manifesto for my existing clients that actually paid to be here for today. But I decided to go live to, bless other subscribers, people that have been watching me for some time. This may be your moment. Who knows? Um, so they need to put in the subject line kingdom blessing
Mm-hmm.
so that you can identify all the emails and requests that you get on a day to day.
Mm-hmm.
So this is part of collaborating with kings and queens is we have protocols.
Mm-hmm.
We have structure. If you don't follow protocol and instruction, you miss out on the blessing. It's kind of like people who pray ineffectively, or people who pray for something that maybe God already did for you in your life and you're just not
Right.
going through the proper protocol. There's a system
Mm-hmm.
to this stuff when it comes to blessings, when it comes to building a business, being a success. There is a protocol to what you are trying to do in your life. So you got to put kingdom blessings in the subject line, and you're
Mm-hmm.
going to email. So I'll just write it out here, and then I'm also going to put it in the chat box again in case it got deleted. But it's info@crowned. Make sure my spelling is right. Financials with an S,
Mm-hmm.
right, at the end.
Yes.
Financials LLC.com. All right, and I'll be
Yep.
sure to type that in the chat box. I would fill this out if you need it. Okay, for those that are watching, if you can afford the $199, pay it. If you're trying to better yourself, you need to build your personal credit. Invest in yourself. Now, if you're struggling, backs against the wall, you're in the weeds, you need this. Okay, fill this out. And what should they put in the description? You want them to.
Let me know what their current circumstance is and what's going on,
All right, so
why they need this. Mm-hmm.
details. Let's hear your story. Okay, we want details, your story,
Mm-hmm.
your situation right now, right? Did 2020 just really knock you down, and now you need your comeback year? Well, when you get around kings and queens that have abundance, it's
Mm-hmm.
very possible to have a comeback year. And in many cases, sometimes, hey, you just got to do it all by yourself. And people
Right.
like Brittany and myself, we did do it all by ourselves, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean everybody else has to,
Right.
right? In terms of building, at some point we received help. I know, Brittany, as you were growing, you received help, and I
Mm-hmm.
was growing. Literally, as I was growing, the only way I was growing was by people helping me.
Right.
After I started asking for it. At
Right.
first I was trying to do it alone, trying to build it alone, but then I dropped the ego, started asking, started going according to protocol, according to scripture, and
Mm-hmm.
it changed my life. So
Right.
provide your story, your situation, what's going on,
Oh,
the issue.
and log in for Credit Karma, so I can do the review and see where see what their file type is, because I have a special gift of my own as well.
Okay, so would you prefer them to provide that login like
Mm-hmm.
after maybe a phone call, or just put it right in the email?
In the email. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so put in the email. So log in their Credit Karma, and that allows
Yes.
you to access, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my clients are on the the more veteran side. They've been around for some
Mm-hmm.
time, so that might be a little worrisome for them. Whoa, I got to give you information right away. People get a little worried
I'm
about
not
that.
gonna lie, your clients, they literally
They're
they
cool.
give it whenever they
They're
because
cool.
on
All right.
my call sheet, pre-call sheet,
Uh-huh.
they submit it on there, and they're emailing me before the call saying, "Hey, were you able to get in?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. We're gonna do it for the call."
Yeah, because I know when it comes, nowadays, cyber stuff, when it comes
Mhm. Yeah,
sending
everything
your
is deleted. Everything is deleted.
yeah, when it comes to like sending logins and things like that, I know sometimes I can be a little iffy myself. So maybe if I guess
Mhm.
if you're still like, you know what, don't feel comfortable doing that,
Mhm.
then maybe put in the email, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing that, but maybe we could
Of
jump on like
course.
a 10-minute call and you can do it right there with me.
Right.
Would that be
Yeah, if
alternative?
that's the case, then I'll have to send them the call link. I do not have any slots this week to do calls, so it'll have to be next week.
Okay. Okay. And that's for the Credit Karma.
Actually, go ahead. You can actually I'm gonna change up the gift that I'm gonna give. So you can actually they don't have to send the you don't have to send the login. If someone wants me to do a free review for them, I'll send the link for that. So I'll switch up what I'm giving
Okay.
today for them to get in.
That's cool. That's cool. So they got to provide story, situation, break it down. What's
Mhm.
going on? Be open, honest, and willing
Mhm.
to receive, a blessing. And I guess you'll, I don't know, do a raffle or something like that. But so
Mhm.
I want to bless one person with that.
Mhm.
And, starting off 2021, the Lord already blessed me with over 40,000 in revenue this month, and the month's not even over. So I need to give my 10% some way.
Mhm.
So I want to bless someone with a 6-month commitment of 997. So I want to do one person here, and one person with this. So that
Okay.
means whoever receives the blessing, if you need this, you're like, hey, I want to go all in. You you must commit with Brittany. You gotta listen. You gotta follow the queen. You gotta listen. Okay? Don't think you know everything. If you're struggling, you need this. This is your moment to fix your personal credit so that maybe you can finally implement velocity banking, and then who
Mm-hmm.
knows? Then you're jumping to infinite banking. Then you're starting your own business. Then you're 10xing your income, whatever it is. Okay? That's going to be my blessing. That'll be sent. So I'll receive the invoice on your behalf, and I'll get
Okay.
to know. I'll get to know who you are as well. Brittany's going to let me know who the winners are. She's going to send me their first name, last name, email. You know, she's not going to keep the money for herself. I know I trust her
Mhm.
at this point. Um, and you know, that's going to be my two gifts for today.
Okay.
And
And then I have some gifts as well. So make sure that when you're putting in your kingdom blessings, I'm going to grant 3 people access into the A to Z Credit Masterclass. And then for those who are wanting to say, hey, I want to go ahead and do this, um, for those 3 people that are actually that I grant access into that, we'll do a 30-minute session. You'll get a 30-minute strategy session with me included, so that way you don't have to send your login, and we don't have to wait for a call. So I'll go ahead and I'll send that to you guys. So
cool.
for the 3 people that I grant access, you'll also get a link to schedule a call for next week for your strategy session. So I
Yeah.
can tell you, okay, these are the areas in the masterclass that you're going to want to focus on.
Cool. Cool. And I
That
know
works out perfect.
I had seen another question earlier. I'm trying to find it. Let's
It'll
see.
be a total of 5 winners. Yay. Well, not
Yeah,
5 winners, but 5 blessings. I like that.
5 blessings
Five blessings.
in the kingdom in Jesus' name. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Right. So we got some other. I just want to shout some other people here. Other kingdom givers. We got Lawrence gave $20 to the kingdom. Appreciate that. Jose gave $50. Thank you so much. Says Denzel and God bless Denzel and Brittany. Good information like always. Thanks for all the knowledge and gems. Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, Prince. And then I think there was another one. Yes, from Lonnie. Gave $10, bowing down, saying thank you. Appreciate you. God bless everyone that did give today. It will come back. Glory to the kingdom. Okay.
Hallelujah.
And I think we're done. I got to find that question. I know it was important. I don't want to miss it. I forgot what it was about. Let me see. Anything else you want to share as you close out?
No, I'm just making sure that I have everything down. I'll be waiting for you guys' emails to come in. Remember, email Kingdom Blessings,
Mm-hmm.
what your situation is and what's going on. Remember, I'm gifting 3 people access to the A to Z Credit Masterclass and a free 30-minute strategy session
Okay.
with me. So as soon as if I let you know that you're the winner, I'm gonna go ahead and add you to the masterclass and send you the link to book your call. So you do not have to send your login information via email. I do have everything encrypted, and I got security on my thing. And down to the bone, but I want to make sure that everyone is comfortable and you do
Right.
not miss out on your blessing. So just email me what your situation is, Kingdom Blessings, and then I will let you guys know who the winners are. So those are the 3 winners for me, of what you get to do. And then for Denzel, he gives you an access. So for the one that you're giving in the access, for just general admission for $199, I'm going to do a strategy session for them as well. So you get that on top of what
Right.
Denzel is taking care of your entry fee. And then for the one person who's going to get the 6 month,
Yeah.
I'm excited to work with y'all. Y'all going to get a personal plan. We're going to set up our coaching calls, get your letters together, get your strategy together, the entire thing.
Love it. Love it. Oh, so this was the question I saw earlier from Natural. She was talking because she's in the UK. So I do have
Mm-hmm.
some viewers that are in the UK. So the terminology when it comes to credit repair is different.
Okay.
I can't find her question, but I know she had asked if you know of any maybe credit specialists
Oh,
outside.
I see it. I do not know anyone there in the UK that is doing this, but you might have just opened up something for me to start.
Yeah, and
Let me look into it. I'll see what the differences are between the UK and the US.
yeah, and then for those that do watch outside the country, I guess you have to do more of a
Mhm.
local search. When
Well,
you're
now, are they building US credit or is she building UK credit? Because I did have someone who's
That's a
from the
good
US
question.
and she's building her US credit, but she's just in another country at the time.
Got it. Well, that I don't know.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that's a client of mine. I usually don't work with too many people outside the U.S. just because it's not my
Yeah,
overall
she was.
specialty.
She was. She's one of your client. She found me on the last one we did.
Okay, so she's one of my very, very few UK
Hmm.
clients, probably in the manifesto, I wouldn't doubt it, um, that are trying to implement velocity banking and then
Hmm.
trying to build their credit. But that would be cool. Do a local search, but then maybe Brittany can also provide some insight on that.
Yes.
And then I'm just gonna put your email again so that people can see it. And what is the time frame? How do they need to take action? How soon?
ASAP.
Okay,
This offer will stand within the next 48 hours.
48 hours. All right. So you guys have
Mhm.
48 hours to respond for this. I think it was 65. We're upwards of 70 people in the house, and people came
Mhm.
in and out as you know normal. Um, and then after 48 hours, that's it. I'm taking this video down. Um, And so don't miss your blessing if you need this. Okay? Want to stress on that. So it's info@crownfinancialsllc.com.
Mhm.
Follow the protocols and instructions. And I think that's it. This was great. I really appreciate you taking the time, hanging out with us, answering questions.
Of course.
And I look forward to continue to work with you. 2021 is going to be a comeback year for most. People like us, we're blessed in abundance. We're gonna have a growth year. It's gonna be a super profitable year, and hopefully we get to bless the right people that want to be helped, that want to grow, so that they can help more, and we can just cause that ripple effect. Awesome.
Yes, I'm so super excited. Per usual.
Well, God bless everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and talk soon.
I remember you saying, hey, I know something's there, like with this policy design, as you were digging into it, really from the consumer side.
I guess you could say. There wasn't a big amount of creators on YouTube that were focusing on velocity banking, personal finance, things like that.
Like you said, it doesn't matter who you get the information from, as long as you get the information and you take action. That's all that we ask at the end of the day, so that you can build wealth for your family and your family's family.
Hey, here's a taste. Now, if you're feeling it at all, then go take a deeper dive. Go start doing your research. Start listening and learning about this whole concept